I remember we had an issue with one of our episodes before, and Podbean was like, "Hey, don't do that."
Yeah, right.
I was like, "All right, thanks, guys." Yeah, so Warefare. I like to be clever with my titles, but this case I was just fucking stupid.
That's what I said. Like maybe he made a joke during the show that I haven't heard yet, but I'm like, let me just.
What'd you think of the Modern Warfare 2 episode?
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. Yeah,
covered some good stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It brought me back a little bit because I was playing the new Modern Warfare last night while I was listening to it.
Good stuff.
I'm learning that the more I pay attention to the in-game audio, the worse I do.
Yeah, you think it's like counterproductive on like Siege?
Yeah.
Anyway, there we go for the episode. But
no, it's just that's what I'm learning. I'll talk about it a little bit when we hit the gaming, but formulating opinions, you know.
Sure.
Formulating opinions. But other than that, Gabe, are you ready, sir?
Oh yeah.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Second City Kids podcast, episode number 138.
138.
Yeah, we are back on the south side of Chicago on a Sunday night, which looks like fucking the end of the world because how dark it is outside. Because obviously, was it fall? Yeah, we fell back.
It's the good half of the year.
Yeah, it's the good half of the year when it gets dark at 4 o'clock. It's good stuff though.
But I mean, sleep.
Yeah, well, that too.
I'm curious to see what my sleep schedule is going to be like now, because I usually have trouble getting up in the morning.
Yeah.
But let's see how bad that hour offsets me, I guess, right? Or offsets, in a way?
Yeah.
Negative offset?
No, it's positive. It's negative
Positive
during the
offset.
spring because it springs forward and you lose
right.
an hour.
So I'm curious to see if I'll actually wake up in the morning.
Well, I guess keep us updated on that.
Yeah. You know, there's no better alarm clock than your mom. Or your pet throwing up, right?
My mom, your pet throwing up. My mom used to do like reverie, like with her mouth, like like I'm like,
oh my god,
yeah, she was like obnoxious as shit back in the day. Sorry, mom, shouting out.
Yeah, my mom's relentless too. She'll be like, Gabriel, and I'll be like, and then like 30 seconds later, Gabriel, and just start like knocking on my door and shit.
I know.
Right.
Oh no, but yeah, it's a beautiful night on the south side of Chicago. Not too cold. And you know, it's November, the first show of November. Can't believe it's finally it's already November.
It's crazy, right? Like we were talking about it last week. Like shit, it's already November.
Yeah, that's insane. But real quick, Gabe, how's your week been, buddy?
Good, man. It's been a lot of Halloween movies and just kind of relaxing a bit. That's probably the majority of my week.
Really?
Yeah. So good stuff.
Interesting. So I was actually doing, like I said, I was listening to your show last night as I was playing video games. And I actually ended up scrolling back to some of our older episodes, right? Because I really wanted to pinpoint exactly how long I've been doing the intro, how I've been doing it.
For this show?
For this show, yes. And it's up episode 12. I've been doing it.
So we've been doing it for 126 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Episode 12 is the one that I officially like got it right, like how I've been doing it ever since. Because there was like little variations in between, everything in between them, and then I nailed it down, you know? I was listening to some good stuff on there, some older episodes.
Is it weird?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Your first show
was which episode? 5?
3. Actually.
Okay.
Episode 3. And I was telling Adriana, I don't know if I'm actually getting better at this, or maybe back then I just had more energy because I would talk extremely fast on the podcast before.
I think it's a lot of that Mike mentality. You know what I mean? Because like my co-host on the Exploration podcast, he hasn't been around a microphone all his life. And so sometimes he'll get like really robotic and he'll like start to talk like this. And I'm like, slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down, man.
Okay.
You got to seduce the mic.
A little bit.
Spit into it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean, we've been doing the show for literally 4 years now.
Yeah.
Going on 5, which is crazy, right?
Insane.
And I mean, I hope after 4 years you know how to seduce a mic.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, like I said, maybe I was just a little bit more energetic back in the day, but as far as speaking, I was like a mile a minute on that show.
If you listen real close, you can hear myself holding me back from doing this show's intro on my other podcast.
Yeah.
I'll take like a real deep breath and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I gotta figure this out.
Fair enough. It happens, man.
But any other fun tidbits or like weird things? Do you feel like you're listening? Well, obviously you're listening to a past version of like Jacob and Gabe and when your wife and Adam were still on the show.
Yeah.
Is it weird hearing like your point of views and your experiences from a much kind of younger, unmarried guy?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a little weird because it kind of feels like a different person a little bit.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
does, really.
I mean, overall, I think my opinions are still the same. But like I said, I think you could hear, especially as time goes on, the tired in my voice. Being a parent, that gets tiring. And just, I don't know. I will say, I mean, Adam did a pretty good job of producing the show back in the day, but like I think we definitely sound way more consistent over the last, 50 or 60 episodes when we got this set up as is. Because with Adam, it was like it sounded good, but like it was different qualities of good throughout, our life cycle.
There's a lot of experimentation.
Yeah, a lot of different microphones because Adam
and content too.
Yeah, Adam would just plug stuff in. I think I also saw the first episode where we had an actual agenda, which was like 6-7 episodes in, where I would actually map it out like in order as opposed to just bringing up random stuff.
And it was only you that had the agenda too, right?
Yeah. There's we did a whole show where it was just us without an agenda, just shooting the bullshit.
Was everybody there for that?
Yeah, me, you, Adriana, Adam. That was like back in the day.
You remember when we had Nick Polk on the show?
Yeah,
I had a couple of those episodes.
Yeah, we had a few of those. I had a few with my sisters on in different time periods. The 2 episodes with my mom. So yeah, I was just going back through the archive, I guess, and looking around because sometimes I just get curious about how things have changed.
So. Now, question, because I think I've easily been the most consistent of your co-hosts.
That's not even close.
Yeah, right. So when you listen to these prior episodes, do you see the change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the original you coming on wasn't supposed to be like a permanent full-time deal.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
No, I mean like because I figured you would
get a rotating cast. Right?
Yeah, that was the whole point of the show. I was going to bring my random friends on that particular episode where you came on for the first time. We were supposed to have Chris Forrest and Ponce was supposed to be there, and
so much for that.
Yeah, Tommy Markham and all that, and it just fell out. And you and I were like, well, let's just hang out and talk about Magic because that was your first episode. It was the Magic episode.
Damn, was I actually playing Magic at that point?
Yeah, you had just started to get into it.
I just bought the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, when I want to do something, I'll splurge on it really bad.
Well, yeah, that's what we ended up talking about. I'm like, Gabe has the tendency to, kind of go nuts when he gets into things for the first time because you enjoy doing that. Alton was supposed to be on the episode too, and he
still wants to be on an episode.
Well, you got to get him on. But yeah, man, it was an interesting thing, especially. From you being a contributor to the show to being a full bore co-host,
and doing most of the agenda this week.
Relax.
This
right?
week, yeah.
Okay, fine. All right, but yeah. And before I didn't even share the agenda with you guys before the show back in the day. It was just mine. Weird.
Very cool.
Yeah, different stuff, different formatting, and we've grown. I think for sure
in a good way. I think if you follow this podcast for long enough, or if it's like your parents maybe that tune in every dozen episodes or whatever, like they can hear, and you've known that we've grown old and tired, and you've grown a beard.
Yeah, I've grown a beard. Yeah,
I'm gonna get mine till the end of the year, dude. I don't know if I got the genes for it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We gotta find out, I guess, right?
Yeah, we're gonna find out because I'm like, well, there's something here, but I look like that dude at the park that's trying to bum a cigarette off of like a fucking, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think you got to give it a actual shot. Yeah.
Well, because we've been at that point in our lives where like we don't need to shave.
Yeah.
Because UPS was a clean shave policy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, well, shit. Now do I get all the piercings and tattoos I want, or you know what I mean? So now it's like choices.
Definitely, for sure. But all right, man. Didn't mean to go on that little tangent, but we did. But you do have notes, so let me know what you got. What's this?
So first of all, it feels like a total. I don't even know how to describe it, dude. Let me just get right down to the story. NASA is sending 4 astronauts to the moon for 2 weeks in 2020. Mm-hmm. How the fuck do you feel about that?
I think it's pretty awesome.
This is the first like longer term stay that we've seen, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's been a couple of hours and then home.
Yeah, I don't even really recall a particular. I mean, granted, I wasn't like all over current news when I was a child, but I don't really recall a manned mission to the moon. When's the last one they had?
Well, like even then, I think when you think about the big ones, it's the first one.
Yeah,
it's
Apollo 13 because they got stranded.
And then it's your favorite sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. And I think this is kind of a big deal because, granted, 2 weeks isn't a fucking lifetime.
Yeah,
but 2 weeks is enough to be out there, check out whatever you need to check out, and kind of make some greater kind of analyses. Because the next step in our human evolution is to colonize other planets.
For sure.
And we could get into the whole Fermi paradox and all that stuff, but I don't want to, do a crazy deep dive on that. That's maybe a content for like a day we don't have an agenda. You know what I mean? And that's one of those days where we're going to have an old school Second City Kids podcast where we just fucking yabber on and just drink beer and shit. But
we got to do that.
How do you feel about that, man? Two whole weeks, 4 astronauts.
That's very cool, man. Like you said, we're at that point in our human evolution where it's necessary. Maybe not so much to colonize, but to explore our world in a deeper way, right?
Because not even our world, other worlds.
Well,
man.
Other worlds, yeah, our universe in a deeper way. Because before, the first time, it was just an arms race. They just wanted to get there first. Didn't have a particular agenda.
Competition is good.
Yeah, didn't have a particular agenda on the matter. They just wanted to get there first, right? So that was kind of the point. I actually just saw. I don't know the title of it. So I actually just saw a commercial for an Apple TV show where it's basically the whole story with, going to the moon, but the Russians got there first.
Yeah. So, well, that's a whole nother topic, man. Apple's got their own streaming service. It's like, we always joke like everybody has their own podcast. Look at this one, for example. But like now everybody has their own streaming service.
I will say, though, I don't know how you feel about this particular thing, but I feel like, obviously podcasting had been a thing for quite some time before we got into it, obviously.
Well, before you got into it. Because I had a podcast before this one.
True, right? So before the show existed, but I feel like it's really like ramped up over the last couple of years. And I feel like we were kind of like slightly ahead of the curve in that regard.
I think I don't want to say early contenders. Because like JRE's been at it for like, 10, 15 years now?
Yeah, about 10 years.
The Corolla show's probably been like 8 maybe.
Kevin Smith's had a show for a long time.
Comic Book Men is one of the things that kind of inspired, I'd say, a big chunk of the show. It's just,
absolutely.
Well, we obviously don't have that intercut between like the reality show, but I think those conversations that they had at the table is what brought us here. How the fuck we get from here to there? Anyway, here's my final question for you in regards to this topic.
Sure.
So, the final bonus mission of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and the term for when you have sex on an airplane is the Mile High Club.
Yeah.
What are we gonna call this if you pork on the moon?
Huh.
Yeah. Because you can't say Million High Club because I don't think it's quite 1,000,000 miles. I think it's like 280,000, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look it up.
What would you call porking on the moon? Huh. I would have to actually think.
It is 225,000 miles.
I would have to. Yeah, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue the same way. I would have to think about that, Gabe. I may have to bring that to you next week and
you know what I mean?
Maybe give you some
the
shitty...
250,000 mile club. Because it's there, but it's still not as extravagant.
Yeah.
And you can't say space club because that sounds like a kid's activity, but
it does. It does. Shit.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, huh?
Sounds like a place you send your kid over the summer vacation.
Like space camp or some shit.
Yeah.
Right? The Rocket Club. The Rocket High Club. That's not bad.
That's not too bad.
That's not great. It's not bad.
Fuck, man.
We're gonna have to think about this
Space Mountain.
Because Space Mountain. Expedition Ever.
Expedition. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about it. Maybe I'll shoot some at you.
Because we have to coin this term.
We do.
We got
to put it out there.
Dude, if I was one of those 4, why would you not make it? I was the first man to have sex on the moon. Think about that. You would literally be like a living legend.
Yeah, man, we're definitely going to have to think about that because that is a very true statement.
You know what I mean?
This is assuming that there wasn't some kind of fornication at some point in time during some of the other missions. I don't know. And I don't think they would admit that, even if that was true.
Right, but we can't pinpoint the first man to ever have had sex.
True.
But now this is a time in our history where we can record such a fact. The first intergalactic planetary. Anyway, next topic. Halloween. It was nice, slushy, cold, and disgusting.
Absolutely.
How was it over here?
Nice, icy, cold, and slushy.
It was kind of unfortunate. This is the first white Halloween that I recall.
At least in an extended period of time. I always like the meme because there's the meme. It's like it sucks trick-or-treating in the Midwest because you can never be just Spider-Man. You got to be Spider-Man with a fucking jacket on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that does suck. But as far, I had work. My class started on Thursday, so I was kind of here. From what I understand, the girls laid low. The baby did not go out. They watched Universal Monster movies without me, and they only got a handful of trick-or-treaters. So pretty quiet on the Haramio front when it comes to Halloween this year. But yeah, man, Halloween's not my favorite holiday. It's funny because I love everything about it except the fact
the trick-or-treating
aspect of it all. I like horror movies. I love the weather, things like that. But for whatever reason,
what is your favorite holiday? Thanksgiving, Christmas?
Christmas is my favorite holiday. Yeah. Even though it has been tainted over the last 10 years or so of my life because of
family and all that extra.
Well, no, just because of the business that I'm in.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, just because of the business I'm in. Will this be your first peak season away from the ups?
Away from the ups? When did I leave ups? I left May of 2018. So no, it will not be my first.
Last year was your first.
I think I mentioned it on a show last year that I got the itch.
Right.
That it feels weird to not be doing anything.
Oh yeah. You did mention that. You're right.
There was always something special about coming in on I swear I mentioned this on like 2 or 3 shows ago. There's something special about going to ups on like a Saturday morning and knowing that they're gonna buy you food. Well, you're gonna get food at the door. Then your full-time soup's gonna buy you like a real meal from somewhere, and that you're going to be bullshitting with your buddies on the gradings and not really doing much work because you're so grossly overstaffed.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Remember that? Oh, were you there? No.
Yeah, I was.
No, I'm saying, but I'm trying to remember when the tactical supervisor was the orange cone. Were you there?
I was there.
Yeah, you were there for that one?
It was when Mario went out for a smoke, and we're like, look, it's doing a better job than
you.
No.
Well, no, because he didn't want to. I was loading. He didn't want me to load. He wanted me to run an area. And I'm like, I'm not running shit. And then he started to cry. And then Josie's like, well, fine. You're loading to Mario and Jacob's running. I'm like, I'm not running shit. So I put the radio on
the cone.
And then at that point, the joke was made, hey, look at the cone's doing a better job than you. But that was back in the day.
There's a lot of good Saturday sort things. Were you there for the big tape ball? Yeah, you were there for the tape ball.
I was there. Yeah, I taped the ball. Yeah, that was me. Oh yeah,
shit away.
we got yelled at. Yeah, I do remember that.
It wasn't even in like the first hour. It was like after a couple of hours. I was like, guys, we got higher ups. Put that shit away.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Josie would get upset. Remember when we used to trail together hazmat pouches, and then you would give it like a tail? It'd be like a cape for some people. Like I would pin it on the back of Josie, man. And he would get so fucking pissed off at me.
Oh my god, I can't remember who it was, but somebody got me, and I did like the T-run where I like ran through the secondary and I like jumped and I had like a tail of like 10 pouches and it looked like a fucking cape and I was like just jumping.
I mean, the hijinks was real back in the day. I used to tape up phones and call, and I was
so many dumb things. Were you there when Alton taped his shoe shut?
Yeah,
the sole of his shoe came. Yeah. I have a picture of that somewhere. He just taped that bitch shut. He looked like a hobo.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Oh man, we got to get some of our former coworkers on this show, and because
I gotta get. Well, I've been trying to get Phil on for like the last 5 years. So,
yeah, Phil definitely has the most overlap between us.
Yeah,
I think you and Forsen probably have more overlap.
Yeah, me and Chris stayed together for a long period of time, dude. We jumped from wing to wing together, just about. But yeah, you and Phil were together for a while. Alton, yeah.
Oh man, me and Phil were together for so long that I made like memes of like our faces photoshopped on like
I do remember
classic duos.
I do remember that. That was pretty funny. I trained Phil, kinda. Yeah. So, yeah, I told him all the secrets, signing Bruce Wayne on the shipping papers and all that.
Anyway, let's get into this agenda.
Yeah, sorry,
because we've been segueing hard and we're not even at movies, TVs, and books. So, D&D, the writers from Game of Thrones hop off the Star Wars trilogy.
Yep.
How do you feel about it?
So essentially what happened is that I guess Disney didn't tie them down, which I think is kind of hilarious.
And this is the Old Republic trilogy, right?
Well, they didn't say particularly what exactly it was going to be. It was like an unnamed project.
Because I believe when we announced that they were hopping on, I believe it was for the Old Republic.
I think that's speculation, but I don't think that was ever really proven. Because Favreau is the same. I think that was also rumored for him too. He was going to get his own set of movies too. But yeah, so I guess Disney didn't tie these guys down, which I find hilarious. And these guys have opted to do a Netflix, because Netflix paid them a lot more money to do a Netflix series, an undisclosed project at the current moment, which kind of leaves this branch of Star Wars movies without a writing team. Which, with that being said, I actually looked up these guys. Okay. I don't know their names offhand, but I actually looked them up, and I'm starting to believe that it might not have been a mutual decision, because these guys did like Gemini Man. They did probably arguably the worst couple of seasons of Game of Thrones. And I think...
Well, they did. I think they closed it out really shittily. We're not Game of Thrones fans on here, but from my understanding, your Dragon show ended pretty shittily.
Yeah, for sure. And I think maybe there might have been some reluctancy on Disney's part to like give them full bore. So maybe they were, again, speculation.
Shat the bed.
Well, shat the bed. Maybe Disney saw like maybe what they were working on, and they're like, we're gonna make adjustments. And then they're like, well, maybe you don't want to make adjustments. Well, it's like, well, see you next time then. Maybe come back around another day or something like that.
Good stuff.
With that being said, we don't know exactly what the project is, but like I said, I want Favreau to spearhead this, an Old Republic look. And
well, you don't even have anything invested in that. I have years of my life invested into the Old Republic.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. But I just think it's a very fascinating time to tell Star Wars stories.
Isn't it kind of weird that the big battle between streaming services now is originals? Like, like Netflix has the cash cow of Stranger Things. Like, everybody loves Stranger Things. And Disney's pulling all their content by, 2021?
Yeah.
All their Disney, Star Wars, all that good stuff's going to be off every other platform.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be weird, man. Because we jumped from cable, which it was intended to be this commercial-free programming. That's why you paid a premium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that got really ugly really quick.
Yeah.
And then now we're on streaming services. And originally there was Netflix was like the big one. Then there came Hulu. And then, for all you extra people, Showtime and this and that and this and that. And now Disney's in the ring.
Yeah.
And now this got ugly really quick, too.
Absolutely, it did. For sure. I mean, it's funny because...
now Apple, too.
Yeah, Apple's in it. It's actually kind of funny because me and Adriana, obviously, we were going to hop all over the Disney streaming service, like no big deal. But it actually turns out, because I'm a Verizon customer, I actually get the first year for free.
Wow, see, there you go.
Fucking outstanding value. I'm going to get it done. And after that, we'll get the Hulu bundle with the ESPN Plus and all that.
We're getting a second Lizzie McGuire movie.
Lizzie McGuire, they're getting the Monsters, Inc. Series, which is taking place after the original.
We're getting the Simpsons on board.
Simpsons
which you didn't believe me.
Yeah, I know. Wait. I was proven wrong.
Man, I hope we get Malcolm in the Middle. That's got to be on there because that's a Fox original, right?
I guess we'll have to wait and see on that.
That's probably right on the border of what's acceptable at Disney.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, a little bit. But that's the thing. I mean, they can kind of do whatever they want with this whole entire thing, and it's we've definitely entered uncharted territory because this is like a new war that's being fought. Granted, it started a couple years ago when Netflix kind of blew up and Hulu came around and all that stuff. But
follow-up question. So
Sure.
You know how Disney vaults their movies after a certain period of time for X amount of years, and then they're like, oh, back from the vault in 5 years?
Yeah.
Do you think that the Disney Plus streaming is going to disrupt the whole vaulting value and that kind of sense of urgency for people to own something?
Not necessarily, because I feel like a lot of that value comes from the additional content attached to it, like all the
behind the scenes
commentaries, behind the scenes, all that stuff. We got the Cinderella one, and it actually has tape of Walt in a meeting talking about the film. That's incredible. That's insane. You know what I mean? A lot of that behind the scenes stuff is definitely where the value is, and the physical copy itself, because how beautifully the DVDs and Blu-rays are put together these days, the artwork and all that good stuff. So not necessarily, because it's kind of like saying, well, streaming has kind of affected Blu-ray sales, and you haven't really seen or heard anything like that.
I mean, I still like physical media.
Me too.
If I like the movie enough, I will buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, I don't know, I just feel weird about totally depending on streaming, because if the internet goes out, you're in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I try to stray away from it. Even with games, I mean, I've recently taken a more of a digital approach the last couple of games I've bought, but I do enjoy the physical copy, especially like you said, when it's something that you care about.
Well, because they just ported The Witcher 3 over to the Switch 2 weeks ago, and let that sink in, right? But the guys who ported it over did all this crazy stuff, and they wrote a whole ass thank you note on the inside of the case and all that stuff, and it came with all these goodies. And I kind of miss that, man. How many games or even movies come with all this extra nice stuff? Unless you're paying $25-$30 for the nice Steelbook edition, right?
Absolutely.
It's usually pretty plain Jane.
Yeah, I know, man. It's a strange world we live in, man. But I like a lot of the Steelbox stuff that we've been getting from these retailers. I like that stuff.
It's, man, dude, I love it, but I hate it because it's I want everything, and they're always at least $15.
Really?
And yeah, because I mean, the Target. I know Target has theirs. Best Buy has their own line of exclusives and stuff, and it's always at $12 or $15 starting, right? And if it's a newer movie, good luck.
Yeah.
But it's well, I can get this for $15, or I can get the regular fucking Blu-ray for $5.
Yeah, and I feel
it's this weird decision you got to make.
I feel like something that the Blu-ray has done infinitely better than the DVD is the bundles. I feel like we got bundles of stuff these days, or at least maybe it could be just red tape and what company owns what or whatever that's changed. But we didn't have a Halloween bundle when DVDs were prominent. We didn't have.
Because I think now people know that they want a complete set or a collection now. You know what I mean?
Do you think that's a new thing, or do you think that's something that's been forever?
I don't think it's a new thing, because I got it was like a mini Scorsese collection on DVD many, many years ago. It was Goodfellas, Departed, Aviator, and Mean Streets. And it was those 4 movies for I think like $8, and it was the best fucking $8 I ever spent.
No
right?
shit.
But I feel like now people are like when eventually Martin Scorsese passes. Just kidding, he's a legend. He won't pass. People are going to be like, I want a really nice fucking Scorsese collection. Or like the Tarantino, when he finishes movie 10, that collection's going to be in a suitcase that lights up, which is the thing from Pulp Fiction.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
I think people are more drawn to that.
Yeah, interesting. Hitchcock got a good collection.
Even shows. I love Futurama, and I think the box set is super cool.
Yeah.
You could find a cool box set for pretty much anything.
Yeah, man, it's just a weird thing. It's actually kind of funny because technically DVDs aren't obsolete yet, because everything that was on VHS isn't on DVD yet. So it's kind of weird.
You're always going to have your oddballs and stuff that just never get translated because, they had like 10 people watch the movie ever, or it was a home video or something like that. You know?
Weird stuff. But so that was an interesting conversation. Let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Gabe,
cool. I got a movie review for y'all. Last night I went to go see ZombieLand Double Tap. What are your feelings on the first movie?
I love it. I think it was a gem for the time. We've talked about this before. I love how all these people are now Oscar nominated or winning actors and actresses. So the pedigree is just outstanding now with that. And like I said, underrated. I think it was at a perfect time during the zombie boom of the last decade. So I enjoy this stuff.
Did you happen to listen to the zombie episode that we did?
I haven't gotten all the way through it. No,
you're gonna get a kick out of that. Anyway, back to my movie review. If you like ZombieLand 1, you're gonna love ZombieLand 2. It does everything the first movie does, except 10 times bigger, 10 times better. It doesn't waste any time setting up these characters, which was granted needed in the first movie, and it gets right down to business. Everybody new that's introduced is fucking hilarious. The gags are just over the top. Just all this good stuff going on left and right, and it is set 10 years after the initial outbreak in 2009. And they make so many good fucking references to the first movie. They pay homage to it. They do all this ridiculous fucking shit, and I'm gonna say it, I like it better. I like it way better than the first one, like leagues better. And me and my girlfriend were having this discussion on the way over, and she says, I don't know if I like it better, but I like it at least as much as the first. So I think they waited enough time for us to kind of
miss it.
To definitely miss it, because we did rewatch ZombieLand 1 Friday night, and I was like, I want to rewatch it before we go into the first one, right? And dude, they did just such a good job of not milking it, and they did a good job of making it feel like this is a ZombieLand movie, and you kind of actually give a shit about the characters, which is weird for a zombie movie, right? For sure. The whole Luke Wilson thing, where they have like the doubles, fucking hilarious, dude. That shit was so great. And they do, I don't want to give too much away, man, but like stay after the credits. It is 130% worth it.
All right. Well,
and go catch that thing, dude. It's great.
Absolutely. But I'm going to ask one very important question about it.
Sure.
And I want you just let me know, good, not good. Zombie kills.
Better. Much better.
Ooh, okay.
Much more creative.
I'm all over it then, man.
I will give one thing away from the movie. They do have zombie variants now. So there's 3 main variants. And they kind of explain on those. It's not, anything Left 4 Dead or Last of Us crazy, but they do add to some of the comedy and some of the frights and all that good stuff.
Good. Very cool. Cool. So what's your grading?
I think I'm gonna give it a B+, just because it's a really good engaging watch. All the jokes are very well thought out and funny, and they have good payoffs. You know me, man. It's kind of hard for me to give an A out just like that. It's got to like really hit you on an emotional level. For sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's good stuff, man. Happy that you enjoyed it, and hopefully someday I'll be able to check it out.
Yeah.
I've been lagging on the movies this year, folks. I can't. It is what it is. Alrighty. So I actually saw this today, so I put this on the agenda. Did you know that Sam Raimi is producing the new Grudge?
Huh.
For those who may not be familiar, Sam Raimi, he's the one who does all the Evil Deads. Also, the Spider-Man trilogy, the Tobey Maguire one. Yeah, or the Topher Grace one, if you ask Gabe.
Shut up.
And, so I guess he's kind of known in the horror community, kind of a legend in that regard, right? I think that's pretty safe to say. For that practical effect look, right? Because that's what all Evil Dead was kind of that practical effect, old school, old-timey goodness. So I'm kind of looking forward to this. I'm not big on the Grudge franchise as a whole. However, I do think he could bring some good scares, and at the very least, it's going to look fucking cool, right? So,
I think Sam Raimi is big on the kind of aesthetic of horror.
Yeah.
And although we didn't see that outright in the Spider-Man movies, I think that the Venom suit did kind of look creepy at Spider-Man 3. Granted, that wasn't a great movie.
Yeah.
But the Goblin looked great. Venom looked great. I think Raimi brings this kind of weird charm and appeal where he's the... I don't want to insult either of them by comparing them, but I think he's like the kind of like adult version of Tim Burton. Like, you know what to expect with Raimi. Like these weird distorted faces and weird amalgamations of what is supposed to be a person. Perfect example, Evil Dead, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So I'm on board with this. I think it's going to be a very interesting project. And yeah, man, it's weird because hasn't The Grudge been remade like 4 times at this point?
Yeah, it has. There's a couple of horror movies I want to see remade. Quick little tidbit. This isn't on the agenda. We watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which one?
The OG one, 1974, 76. I can't remember. Right. That movie did not age well.
Really?
I don't think it aged well at all.
It's funny that you say that because I feel like a lot of people say that it's the one that's aged the most well out of all the OGs.
I've heard similar kind of opinion that this is the one you should watch, and we sat down and watched it last night, and I think there's just I think I understand where all these like scary movie tropes come from because I understand that it's like a kind of political / social commentary of the times and this and that, and I do like the marketing ploy where they make you think that this was based on a true story, but I think that the movie was shot not amazingly. And I understand the choices of how to cut the scenes to make you feel uneasy and scream and all this stuff. But, dude, I think if you just sat down and watch it, you're like, there's something, where you stand on the matter. You either love it or you don't.
So what is your opinion on Leatherface as a whole?
I enjoy Leatherface.
Okay.
I picked him up in MKX. I think that's more than enough that I got to say, right?
Yeah, sure.
No, I enjoy Leatherface, but there's like things in the movie where like I can't remember what her name is. She runs out of the house. They run through the forest. She runs back into the house, and then they do it 2 more times. 2 more fucking times. And it's like, come on.
It's like an episode of Scooby-Doo.
It really is. It does feel like it. I don't know. I enjoy Leatherface. I enjoy the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, but rewatching that movie kind of made me take off the rose-tinted glasses.
Okay.
And I think we had, I think sometimes we let movies pass, and I think we get nostalgic sometimes. But now I'm like kind of like trying to reevaluate all the things I love without being nostalgic or with being objective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mind. And I think, I don't know, maybe you should rewatch it. It's on Netflix, the original one. And check it out. Let me know what you think, because I might be totally wrong. You might still love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check that out. But I will say something about this. I think it was kind of... I don't want to say hindered because that's not the word I'm looking for, but it was kind of a product of its time, right? They could only execute so much, and it was very low budget. That's very apparent just based on the production value of it. It was very low budget, all right? But with that being said, when the remake came out in 2003, 2002, whatever, I liked that a lot, actually. I thought that was pretty well done.
I think there was a 2013 remake, too.
Yeah, but that was like a sequel / retelling.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of sequels out there.
Yeah, because the direct sequel to the original one is like batshit crazy. I
think it's like Next Level, or it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like Next Level or something. Or Next Generation is what it's called.
Yeah, something like that, and it's just off the wall and like completely insane. So they kind of ramped up the insanity on that, which I guess was kind of the point, but it is what it is. But as a whole, I enjoy the franchise, but it may be something that requires a look, because I will say, wasn't a crazy Friday the 13th fan prior to rewatching it, and I'm telling you right now, it did not help itself on the watch through.
I think the legacy of Jason is greater than the sum of its parts, because people see him and it instills fear, and the hockey mask, right?
I think he's more of not so much for the movies, but for the moments. He shines in moments. But if you watch movies and stuff like that, those moments.
You watch a Jason kill compilation. You don't watch Friday the 13th.
Exactly.
Part 10, Jason in space.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's a moment guy for sure. He's got those high quality.
But I mean,
moments.
perfect example, right? Halloween, OG Halloween, aged like fine fucking wine.
Absolutely did.
And literally the best thing that they did to that movie since it released was putting it on HD Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I don't think it needs any, tossing all the extras you want. It's extras at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that's literally the best thing you could have done for that movie since it came out.
Yep.
And then we got the sequel, or the real sequel in this 2018 Halloween 20. We got Halloween 2018. And Jacob's laughing because we don't even know where the fuck we are. This timeline is so fucking strange.
Yeah, because it's so hard
to keep track. Because we got 4 movies named Halloween now.
Correct. And then the next one that's coming out will be called Halloween 2 or Halloween Kills or whatever, which is why I think they're getting away from the numerical naming just to avoid that. So it's going to be Halloween Kills, which would be technically Halloween 3. But
Halloween 2-3.
3. Yeah, and then there's...
It's like when you save the same file multiple times.
Yeah, and it's Halloween Ends, which would be Halloween's 4/5. It's kind of confusing, okay?
Anyway, long story short, there's movies out there that age well, and then there's movies that just don't. And I think that rewatching Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of... brought that to my eyes. And I want you to rewatch it. I want you to kind of give me your opinion on it.
All right.
Because it is one of the greats, right? I don't think anybody would argue that it's like probably top 10.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say top 5, maybe top 10.
Sure.
Like, hey, these are like classic 70s, 80s horror movies
that you got to watch. Yeah.
Along there with Halloween, Scream, Friday, Nightmare, all that good stuff.
You know, Adriana made the mistake of watching The Shining by herself a couple of weeks ago.
That's hilarious.
She texted me. She's like, I made a horrible mistake. I'm like, what? She's like, I put The Shining on. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yes, that'll fucking do it. Yep, that'll disturb you pretty quickly. And with Dr. Sleep coming out, she's like, I want to see it now. I'm like, well,
good stuff. I found joy in kind of more unknown titles of the horror genre recently.
Like what?
Lake Mungo. We watched it. It's on Amazon Prime. So if you have that, check it out. It is a documentary that follows a family of a girl who drowned. And I don't want to give too much away, but that's the basic premise.
Does she put on a hockey mask and become Jason?
No. I think it's good, though. I think it's horror from a different take, from a different side. And I don't want to give too much away because it follows the family and they're grieving and they get in touch with the psychic, and that's all you need to know.
Interesting.
Check it out. It's a different take on horror, and I like it. Also, Hereditary is on Amazon Prime, which is probably like my favorite horror movie of all time at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, dude, it's really good. Check that out. I might buy that on fucking Blu-ray and just loan it to you.
Interesting.
Because that movie's so good.
Well, I still haven't watched the one that you loaned to me last time.
Kingsman.
Yeah, we're still getting into
that's different, though. I think you're waiting for an excuse to watch Kingsman, whereas, you'd like be at work waiting to watch Hereditary.
True.
It's a different vibe.
Okay, that's true. All righty, man. So
let's talk some gaming news. So
some stuff came out, so let's go.
So there were some questions because the Xbox Elite Controller 2 came out, and people were like, well, why am I going to buy this $120 controller if the Skarlet's right around the corner? The guys at Microsoft were like, all Xbox One controllers are compatible with the Skarlet.
Okay.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's really cool. Because now if you have 4 controllers for your Bone, you'll have them for your Skarlet too if you plan on buying it.
Yeah.
And I think somebody like you would seriously benefit from that on the PS5 because you have 5 controllers? 4? You got that one, the classic, the black, and you got the blue, so that's 4.
The white.
And the white, so that's 5 controllers you own.
So I got the gray.
Uh-huh.
I got the crazy
the blue, neon one.
The blueberry looking one.
Uh-huh.
The blue one. The gray the God of War one, the white one in the living room, and the black one.
So 6.
And I'm going to get a purple one because the purple one's out.
So yeah, I think somebody like you would heavily benefit from that. I think Microsoft is approaching this next gen with a lot more care and love because something like this I could totally see being like a deal breaker. Like let's say you have both consoles this generation and you know that what are controllers now? $60 to $70 depending on which one you want. So let's just say 60 flat and you know your $240 investment on controllers is going to roll over to the next gen. I think that's great, especially if you're interested in buying the Elite.
Does it work like wirelessly or does it have to be plugged in?
It works wirelessly.
Okay, because the 4
it will be fully compatible.
Yeah, because the 4 remotes work on the PS3, but you have to have it plugged in via USB.
Well, the 3 work on the 4 as well, but you got to have those wired in because we played. I can't remember where we played Kingdom of Fighters. My buddy brought his PS3 over.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why'd you bring one controller?" He's like, "You have the other 2." But yeah, no. I mean, what do you think about that, man?
I think it's cool. I think it's the right step. I think these companies are finally realizing that we don't quite like. It's not like when the new console comes out, we just chuck the old one out over our shoulder.
How long did I wait before I bought a PS4? It was like years because you got yours before I did.
I got mine opening the day one.
So and that was 2014.
Correct.
I think I got mine when that Battlefront 1 bundle came out. So that was winter of 2016. So almost 3 years.
Yeah. Because I got mine day one. I waited. I waited by the front door.
Yeah. So
called off work
stuff. I think Well, because the whole PS5 is supposedly retro compatible all the way down to the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like if you have like the PlayStation 1, what is the fucking called, the retro classic or whatever, the PS1 retro, that they just made, and those are those USB controllers? Do we know?
I honestly don't know.
If they are USB, they ideally they'd be compatible.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not because they don't have thumbsticks. Shit, because those were Gen 1 controllers they modeled in Micro.
Stupid.
But like your PS4 controllers should be compatible. I think that, and Mr. fucking $300 on controllers over
Relax.
here.
Relax.
I think it only makes sense because shit like this is going to count for the long run.
I think me and Adriana broke it down the other day because I was telling her, I don't know how we brought it up, but I was talking about how I'm used to the same remote for 15 years at this point, right? Give or take, because Sony really hasn't changed all that much, since the PlayStation 2, right?
Sure.
So then it got to me counting how many of these consoles I've owned individually. So I think we got down to I own 3 PS2s for different reasons. I got a new one, 2 PlayStation 3s, and 2 PlayStation 4s I own.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. So for anybody who may be wondering my allegiance when it comes to these consoles, and granted, not as important anymore. We've talked about that. I'm still a Sony guy. So when the 5 comes, I'm going to be all over it because that's just how I am.
Cool.
I haven't owned a non-Sony console, think about this, since the N64.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a long fucking time.
Now we gotta wait for the N64 Classic.
I'm still waiting for. Yeah, why the fuck did they not go with that? Like,
you want to know why?
Why?
Because they're porting a whole bunch of games over to the Switch. So ideally, you'd play your 64 stuff on the Switch. Yeah, that's gonna be the best-selling console of this year. I can already tell you.
Yeah, man, you're just the fucking mark for the Switch too, though.
I wasn't a believer, but I am.
Did you get Luigi's Mansion?
I did not get Luigi's Mansion. I'm gonna actually wait for that to go on sale because I'm wrapping up my game of the year, and then Pokemon comes out. So I'm probably gonna get Luigi's Mansion for the holidays. It wasn't like a big rush. Like I need to finish that.
Yeah.
I have 65 hours in this game I'm playing right now, and I'm probably gonna have 15 or 20 more hours till I wrap up playthrough 1.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna touch New Game Plus because Pokemon's around the corner, and then I want to play Pokemon and not get left behind in the dust.
Yeah.
So yeah, holidays this year, I'll get Luigi's Mansion and we'll play. Please.
Because honestly, I don't have a Switch, and I'm hearing wonderful things about it. But like you said though, it's not like a Mario game is one of those heavy story-centric games. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has some great lore. Mario has great lore, actually fantastic lore, but it's not like it's a story-based game.
I bought Mario Kart 3 years after the game, 2 years after the game came out, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And am I behind that curve? Maybe a little bit, but not enough to lose to my friends.
True.
You know what I mean? That's what counts.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what counts, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So, good stuff. I can't wait for that 8-player mode on Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking disgusting.
That'll be fun.
Good stuff. So, Death Stranded is out. Kojima's baby, his
Frankenstein's monster.
Lots of divided reviews out there.
I've heard, yes.
A lot. We've seen some like 95s, and we've also seen like some 75s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's what I've heard. The game is purely subjective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that people are... I don't even know where to begin with this, man. It's a purely subjective experience.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're a Kojima boy, if that game reminds you of good times, I think you're going to go for it.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I have not bought it. I might get around to it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't ever something that I was like super interested in. I am a Kojima fan, but if it's not Metal Gear, I'm kind of afraid of it just because I know what kind of guy he is, and I know he's off the wall, and I know he's very artsy-fartsy when it comes to his games. It's nothing wrong with that. It's his art. It's literally his art. Yeah. He makes art. He really does, right? So, I don't know. It's just for me, something about Norman Reedus' goopy face being on it that kind of threw me off. But I'm like you. I've heard both sides of the spectrum. A lot of the main complaint that I'm hearing is that I don't get it. I don't get it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So,
it's like watching movies, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know exactly, what my exposure will be to it moving forward.
You think you're going to scoop it if it drops to like $20, $30?
If it gets low enough and I get bored enough, because, dude, right now,
Modern Warfare.
I'm into the Modern Warfare. If I'm not doing that, I'm still playing a little bit of Siege. If I'm not doing that, it's MLB because that's just the type of fucking player I am.
Sure.
I can't stray away from my baseball game. I think I mentioned this on previous episodes, but when I buy a baseball game, I own it for 6 years. And the only reason why I got the new one is because it was free last month on the
there you go.
The what's it called? Otherwise, I'd still be playing 18. You know what I mean? I dedicate a lot of time to these players. So I don't know. That's just how I am. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see. We obviously no review because we don't own it. Neither of us own it. So I will say they have a pretty good looking remote for it. Have you seen that?
The piss yellow remote?
Yeah.
I don't like it, dude.
The old school see-through.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
One bit.
Why
dude.
not?
It's just, I don't know. Sometimes when I look at the toilet and the toilet looks back, it's like that. What is that fucking quote? Who said it? Sometimes when you stare into the abyss stares back. That's me and my shits. Sometimes I stare at my shit and my shit stares back.
Fair enough.
Oh, a little tidbit. They make classic colored shells for the Switch. So if you had like that atomic purple Game Boy or N64, you can get a shell and swap it out.
Yeah.
And I love it, but here's my beef with it. I had a Glacier Game Boy Advance, which is like that light blue see-through. Mm-hmm. That's the only fucking color they don't make for the Switch shells. I'm so upset. I want to have a matching set. I still have that Game Boy.
Interesting. Wow. Oh, no.
Good stuff. So we got Diablo 4 at BlizzCon 2019.
BlizzCon. Have you heard anything else from BlizzCon?
Lots of protests.
Really?
Yeah, lots of protests.
How so?
With the whole Hearthstone situation.
Well, explain that.
So this is old news at this point, but essentially a player won the Hearthstone World's Championship, I believe.
Okay.
And Blizzard, he did a little quick shout out, like Free the People of Hong Kong, and Blizzard suspended him for a year and took the prize money away. And then people rioted. There was a walkout at Blizzard. And then the resolution was that they lowered his suspension. I don't know if they gave him the money back, but people were protesting BlizzCon. And we got two big announcements. The first one being Diablo 4, the other one being Overwatch 2. Mm-hmm. And I guess that wasn't enough to settle the masses.
Was not enough to get them back on the sides, huh? Interesting. But yeah, Diablo 4, big deal. Not to me. It's just one of those games.
I've been wanting to. I just couldn't,
Yeah, it's kind of the same kind of deal because I know they had it available on the consoles, but I feel like it's definitely one of those games you got to have a PC for. And I know Gabe's like, yeah, but
I mean, don't look at me. I'm not a Diablo player.
No, I know. I'm just saying. But so yeah, I never really felt the need to get it. I know it's big, like a big deal. I remember seeing like the old school or maybe the first two Diablo. What's it called? Like box art. Yeah, the box art with the demon guy.
On it.
Yeah, and all that stuff. And I'd be like, whoa, what's that? Same thing with StarCraft. I don't know why that's so vivid in my head.
Because they do such a good job at designing their box arts, like the World of Warcraft. I remember all the 3 expansions.
Really?
When they came out at like Walmart and stuff, I remember looking at those and I was like, I want this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even really understand what it was. You're just like, this is cool. This is cool.
Oh.
This is cool looking. No, yeah, definitely. Not a big deal to me, but it's a big deal to a lot of people. Maybe one day we'll get into it down the road. Maybe we could do a walkthrough together. We have to have a conversation actually because I want to get something in that. I want to update the graphics card a little bit just so I can have a little bit more flexibility.
A little more juice.
Yeah, a little bit more juice. And obviously you built the damn thing, so.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So those are our 2 big BlizzCon announcements.
Overwatch 2, I didn't want to gloss over that because it just sounded like it did. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
That's
it is kind of a big deal.
I do like Overwatch. I was a big fan of Overwatch. I still play it from every now and then. I'm just incredibly amazed about how well games as a service.
It's kind of a different games as a service because you get the core stuff for free. Mm-hmm. The characters are for free.
Yeah.
Whereas you buy your skins and your emotes and this and that.
I mean, I'm not upset at them about that. As long as I get the content. The content's important. The skin is.
I totally agree with you.
It's all flavor text. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you're looking at the dude who has the zombie thermite skin. The blown off face thermite skin.
Yeah. You give that every time you can. I get it. But so yeah. Big deal. I wonder, you think they're going to bring in like a brand new set of heroes and just...
Well, all the old ones are coming over.
All the old ones?
All the old ones are coming over.
Oh, wow.
From my understanding.
That's not a little cast. That's
24?
That's a hefty cast of
18,
people.
18, 24, something around there?
Something like that.
I don't play Overwatch. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the plan is that they're going to bring all the OG ones over. And they showed some demo footage with like Lucian and all those guys. So I guess the next phase is to keep dropping characters and maps.
Interesting.
I just kind of, You know, it's funny because when you were telling me to buy Overwatch when it came out, you're like, dude, it's Blizzard. Their games last like 10 years. What has it been? Like 4?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's pretty good. You gotta
No, that's good.
Yeah.
But it's not Siege good.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Because Siege is going.
Yeah.
If there was a Siege 2, nobody would buy it.
Yeah, this is true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said,
well, because look at Diablo 3. When did Diablo 3 come out? Let's look that up.
2011 probably.
Because people still play that.
Yeah. It's got to be like 2011, 2010 probably. He's looking it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
I'm looking it up.
He's looking it up.
2012.
2012, okay.
So 6-7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'll be 8.
Yeah.
May 15, 2012. So 8 years, and that's almost double what Overwatch got.
Yeah.
That's just kind of weird.
I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe because the first one probably won't have as much juice behind it just due to the fact it's the first one. It doesn't have, at least when it came out, it didn't have quite the name. At this point, I mean, Lord knows what's going to happen with the next Overwatch, right? I mean, at the very least, 4 years of content out of a game, most of which the content was free. Can't be upset about that.
Still better than a COD cycle, which is 2 years.
Yeah.
I think it's down to now.
Yeah.
And at the end of the second year mark, it's pretty much dead.
Yeah, it's an ugly sight unless it's one of those classic ones that everybody's still playing. But yeah, man, I don't know.
How do you feel about that? Overwatch 2.
I think it's time. I do like Overwatch. But I think it's kind of, at this point, it's kind of reached its ultimate where it's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, as good as it's going to get as far as what they currently got going on. I think it may be time to maybe up the ante a little bit.
Cool beans.
And like I said, not mad at them because they did a good job with that game. And, one of those other games where it maybe could be used as kind of a model for the future as far as like how to support your games and love your games and all that.
Really, dude? I still think that goes to R6.
I'm just saying it's one of them.
No, I totally understand.
It's one of them.
Totally understand.
Maybe not one, but two.
A prime example.
Yes.
I think easily top 3.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty.
Let's get into music news and reviews because we got a lot to talk about. First of all, My Chemical Romance is back. Cool. It's been, I think, 7 years. 2012 was their last show.
I believe I heard that as well.
They're playing the Shrine in LA, which is a massive 5,000 person venue. It's where
sold out just about instantly too.
Yeah, it's where the Ghost Inside played their comeback show. Sold out instantly. I expected nothing less because it's weird. I had a coworker. I don't know if I told this story on the show. I had a coworker and his daughter works as like a consultant or an intern or whatever, like part time. And she came in and she's like, "Are you wearing my shirt?" And I overheard this because he sits next to me and he's like, "I don't know, am I?" And he like pulls up his sweater and it's an MCR shirt and he's like, "Huh, I guess I am." And I just thought it was some old ratty shirt in the wash. He's like, "I literally bought it last week at Hot Topics." And I was like, holy shit, they're still selling MCR stuff. But how do you feel about it? I know you're not the biggest MCR fan.
I like My Chemical Romance. I definitely can admit the impact that they've had. I didn't like the last album like at all.
Sure.
All right. Danger Days or whatever the hell it's called. Didn't really like the aesthetic of it either. But this is a big deal, man. I've seen them live maybe once or twice. Good show. I'm sure now that they're well rested, and I think that's going to be a good fiery comeback.
So can we truly call it 2019?
Yeah.
Cool.
For
awesome.
sure. With that, maybe not be as excited as some of our other, contemporaries out there, but it should be fun. I think they said they don't really know what they're gonna do. Like they don't know if it's like a full bore comeback or they're just coming back for a couple shows or
feel it out.
Yeah,
that's what System of a Down did.
Yeah, absolutely, and make a decision from then on. Another announcement, another return.
Yeah, a few days after the My Chemical Romance.
I think it was literally the next day.
Rage Against the Machine announced that they will be coming back for a handful of shows in 2020. Tom Morello dropped arguably one of the least interesting albums of, was it 2018, I think? Mm-hmm. And Prophets of Rage just doesn't do it for me. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think, man?
It's good stuff, man. Same, basically copy and paste. I understand the appeal. It's just I'm not crazy about
Not your flavor.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about them either. But, big deal. The year of the comeback, I think I texted that to you. That's good stuff, man. You can't hate on these guys for wanting to come back and maybe relive some of those glory days,
Good stuff.
That's good stuff, yeah.
Let's get into this segment that you have written down, the rise and fall of...
All right, so this is a new segment that I wanted to present to you, and I wanted your opinion on it. Basically, what we'll do is something in the music scene. We'll discuss the rise and the fall of. So maybe next week we can do the rise and fall of My Chemical Romance, right? Or the rise and fall of Bless the Fall, which is the first one that came to mind when I thought about it. These bands that got really big, really popular, and
it's a good one, Asking Alexandria, because they blew up real fucking quick, and then
that would be
no longer
one.
relevant.
Yep, that would be another one. All right, so I just wanted your opinion on it, and if you think that we can do it.
I think that we can do it. I was kind of hoping you didn't come in here with an idea like, let's talk about the rise and fall of this band, and I'm like, dude, you can't just spring that shit on me, you know?
Yeah, because I figure, because Gabe is more of a fan of the kind of the essay style. I
like doing my research.
Yeah, that's basically his other show, is him doing the essay style presentation, which is awesome and why I like it. So I figured, why not get a little bit of that going for the Second City Kids
You want to do
podcast.
Bless the Fall? I think we both know Bless the Fall enough to feel it out.
We can open up Bless the Fall. Next week, we will do the rise and fall of Bless the Fall.
The Rise and Bless the Fall.
Rise and Bless the Fall. Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
The Rise and Bless the Fall.
Welcome to the new segment.
Yeah. And basically, like I said, talking about the rise, the emergence, their peak, and what's happened subsequently since then, and maybe how they've kind of fallen off the face of the fucking earth.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. So that will be coming next week. Expect that. That'll be good stuff.
Good shit. So you mentioned a segment last week that you wanted to talk about songs that mean the most to you, or along those lines. You got which Linkin Park song? Which 3 Linkin Park songs are you going to talk about?
Well, I will give you one. All
Sure.
right. I have a handful of them, but I'm going to give you one to start off with. This one, I was thinking as I was going through them. It's funny because some of the songs that I've picked actually have very little to do with lyrical content. Mm-hmm. It is less about that and more about me as I was
growing up.
As I was growing up, and what I associate these songs with what time period during my life, right?
Sure.
But with that being said, this one is both. All right. It reminds me of my grandfather. You probably know what song I'm going. This is One More Light by Linkin Park. All right. Obviously, it's a dual-pronged thing. Chester Bennington being one of my favorite vocalists of all time. He passed away. They came out with a nice video for him. And then my grandpa passed away. You know what I mean? And that was kind of a dual-pronged thing. All right. So it was played during my grandpa's funeral video, because he had the videos of all the pictures and him growing up and all that stuff, and it still affects me deeply to this day, and I have a hard time getting through it every single time I listen to it. So that's the number one. I think that's a little bit more on the nose as far as like why. I think everybody can understand that. So that's one for sure that I wanted to toss out for you guys to kind of ponder. Check it out if you haven't. It's a wonderful song. Wasn't a big fan of that particular album, but it's probably the best song on the album.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
You just want to alternate with these?
Yeah.
So mine is actually a band that I think we both very deeply respect, but they don't nearly get mentioned as much as they need to on the show, is Light and Sound by Yellowcard.
Okay.
And the reason is because it was on every single one of my summer cruising playlists when I was very young.
Really?
And I don't know, man. There was something special about driving down like Roosevelt, just blasting that stuff in the middle of the night, or like when the sun's setting. I think that, especially now that we kind of don't have the time to be doing that, like that dumb shit anymore, I think that I'm very grateful that I got to experience that and kind of have that kind of freedom.
Yeah.
Where, before a full-time job commitment and before being chained down to somebody else and stuff like that, it's just kind of nice just being a kid.
Absolutely. For sure. This one's like all lyrical content, and it's one of my favorite bands of all time. You could probably guess.
Is it Vanna?
Digging.
Yeah, this one's on here.
Yep.
Let's tag team this one.
Yeah, so Vanna Digging, probably watching them play that song live is probably one of the best moments.
Time? Honestly.
Every time. Yeah. Every fucking time. Every time I see Davey Muse hop into a crowd and sing that song with the crowd, with people who fucking feel those words, talking about how, you feel like you don't exist. And you're
even
alone.
rocks don't have bottoms like this. Yeah dude. I'm already getting the chills.
Yeah, and just feeling like that you're not worth anything, and that nobody notices you, and nobody cares. And the second half of the song, realizing, well, hey, there's a community of people surrounding you that care about you and understand you, and if you stick together, we'll get through it, right? And it's just a beautiful song. Like I said, I've seen it live 5-6 times probably, and every single time he hopped in that crowd, it was a beautiful experience, right? When we saw Vanna for the last time, I cried my eyeballs out. I couldn't even take it. Couldn't even take it. It was so fucking beautiful and wonderful, and I was so glad to see it get to see it for the last time, you know. So that was one, or that was my look on it. What is your opinion on it?
Well, what's there to be said about Vanna or even Digging, as you know, that hasn't already been said on this podcast? I think it's the band's magnum opus. I think it encompasses everything that they stand for, everything that each of those members brings to this collective Boston hardcore movement, really. And, you know, there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of Boston, but Vanna was really something special because they didn't try to be the hardest band out there. Mm-hmm. They weren't trying to be dirty, grimy, heavy 3-minute songs with breakdowns every 30 seconds. They were being honest with themselves, and they made music that moved people, both physically and emotionally. Yep. And I have a love-hate relationship with Digging because I love the song and I love everything it means. But I hate it when it comes on and there's people in the car because I like my voice starts to crack and stuff. And you know, sometimes, dude, you like listen to it. Like, I can't remember what it was. I think I was driving home from work not too long ago and it came on. I was like, God damn it, dude. Like, it's such a nice thing to be alive, even like when you have moments like this. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I don't think we should go any more into it because we're going to start crying.
Absolutely. That's for sure.
Good stuff. Sure. Very much in the same vein. Another band that we don't talk about nearly enough. We did a retro review on them. It's To the Wind. They did a song called Temporary Escape. We stumbled upon these guys because they opened up for Vanna, right? You went to that show, I didn't.
Fantastic.
And I don't know what the fuck was going on in my life. It was just all this shit. I mean, you know, I had, they wanted to kick me out of school. I was having like relationship issues with like friends, family, significant others and stuff like that. And there was like a point in my life where everything felt chaotic, but like not in the good mosh pit kind of way. Mm-hmm. And I think Temporary Escape and To the Wind did a very good job of saying that, you know, a lot of metal bands say like, fuck the world, fuck this, fuck you. Whereas To the Wind kind of took this introspective view on things and they said like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit too.
Yeah, I fucked up. Yeah,
I fucked up. And I think that's something the band does so brutally, honestly. And I don't know, it's just something about this band that like level heads me. Whenever I'm having like an ego trip or having just, you know, like one of those days, I think there's something about this vein of music that brings me back down to earth. And, you know, it's like, be humble, be the person you needed when you were 13 kind of shit.
Absolutely. My next one is actually a kind of a softer song. It's Wind and Sails, Level Head. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Wind and Sails is Evan, who was formerly in Vanna. He basically had an acoustic side project that he was doing, and he released this album. And he has a variety of them at this point. But during the time, this is almost immediately after he quit Vanna, and talking about how he just saw himself as an honest man just trying to keep a level head, right? That was like his whole entire thing. Him coming home from this long journey with this band that he had a lot of experience with, that he helped founded, you know what I mean? And having it all kind of, at the end, he doesn't have a whole lot, you know what I mean? And he's just trying to keep his life simple and keep moving forward. That means a lot to me. So, and it's just a beautiful song. I would recommend it. Check it out. I'm sure you and Maddie would like it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a very good song. And again, kind of that dual prong thing. It shares relationship with Vanna, so therefore, like, I'm connected to it, and I just love it overall. And it's definitely a great song, so you should definitely check that one out.
Awesome. My next one is Mammoth by The Devil Wears Prada. And I think this is kind of an interesting choice because I've listened to the song dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And then one day I was bored and looking through music videos. I mean, you know, sometimes you do that. And there was something about the Mammoth music video where this dude just goes through his life, and the kind of the metaphor that they show is he's in his coffin kind of floating through life as all these events happen around him. And something about that like just genuinely shook me to my core. Okay. And, you know, I think music is an art, and art is interpretive in every sense of the way. But there's just something that like reinforces my core ideas of, you know, you can work all the overtime you want, but that's not going to be the shit you remember on your deathbed, you know? For sure. I'm very much a firm believer of spend time with your family, go out and do stuff, and, you know, live to experience, don't work to live, if that makes sense. Yeah, and sure. I think that song kind of, I don't know, man, you got to watch the music video. There's something magical about it.
All right. This one's a layup. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the music video for this. Johnny Cash, Hurt.
Yep.
I don't have to say
easy
anymore.
Peasy.
Just watch the video. You'll understand every second of it. I actually watched somebody react to it. A guy who usually listens to like hip hop and rap and stuff like that. He looked into it and he watched it. He was like genuinely moved. You can tell that he was like fighting off tears.
He was going through it.
Yeah, he was fighting off tears because it's just one of the most emotional music video song combinations of all time. like I said, I don't have to get that deeply into it. I'm sure everybody will understand that.
Very cool. I got one more.
Sure.
And then I'm all out of bullets before it gets into, the song makes me want to punch drywall. Actually, a kind of recent one from last year, I Always Wanted to Leave by The Plot and You. I think that everything about this album is beautiful, and we went on to rant and rave, and we still do about it.
Sure.
There's something weird going on here with my feelings in this song. I think that it's a kind of a conglomerate of all the prior stuff I said, where it is, what's the dude's name? It always eludes me. Landon Tours.
Yeah.
How he's just kind of being introspective, and he realizes he isn't in the situation that he wants to be in. He isn't living the life he wants to live. I think that, sometimes that we come to that point in our life where we realize that we need to change.
Yep.
And just the production, the vocals, he has just like this grossly earnest voice about him where it's not overly produced. It's not trying to bring in cash. He's just trying to get his message out there. And you really feel it, man. And I think there's something special about this kind of jazzy aesthetic and sound that they bring in Dispose, and especially this song. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about it.
Absolutely. I'm surprised you didn't put Dear Youth on that one.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Dear Youth.
I got you. I got you. My last one is Dangerous Business, Walking Out Your Front Door by Under Oath. I mean, outside of the fact that the lyrics are so well done and the song itself is so beautiful, it's straight up, and this reminds me of when I was a high school kid who was kind of a lost, confused pup. I think we all are in high school, right? And I would take the CTA often and a lot. And a lot of times, one of those days I was feeling really particularly down about myself, I would just ride the L in the circle over and over again and just listen to the song because, I don't know, something while it's snowing, there's something about snow and this song.
And Under Oath.
Yeah, Under Oath. Yeah, well, Under Oath, yeah, you're right, as a whole, that it just connects to me and it just makes sense to me. And like I said, and when you're a lost, confused kid and, these guys are saying words that just mean a whole lot to you and you're in that environment, which I literally feel it's meant to be enjoyed in, you kind of get lost in that. And I would do that a lot. Like I said, just go around the loop over and over again until I started to feel better, and then I would go home.
That's funny because you mentioned to me when we did our There Is a Hell, Believe Me, I've Seen It, There's a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret album review. It's a 10-year review. You mentioned that was exactly one of those days when you just put that on and you were just taking it around in circles.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder how many album reviews you could do on the L. Or have you have done?
Yeah, probably a lot. I'd imagine. I would think that was probably. I mean, obviously, I've listened to a lot of music. I'm a music guy, so I listen to a lot of stuff, right? But I would think that's when and where it would have like the most impact on me.
Sure.
Right? Because
I mean, there's something special about staring out a car window and watching the landscape roll by, and you think it's a music video.
Absolutely.
That's twice as powerful on a train.
Absolutely.
I don't make the rules; I just follow them.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. So I mean, I don't know. It just had a profound impact on me, and there's a lot of songs during that era of my life. I could probably make you guys a playlist if you really wanted me to. But if you're, like I said, a kid who's going through some stuff, that basically, and when you retrospect, it doesn't mean anything in the long run, right? It's stupid stuff that didn't mean anything. But during the time, it's the most important thing in the world. I think it's kind of funny. And
it molds who we are.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, I don't think we'd probably have this podcast without that metal community that we're so,
absolutely,
a part of and behind.
Facts.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. What is our next topic?
You put this on here. Misheard lyrics.
Oh, yeah. So, you know me, I like Every Time I Die.
You do.
More than your average fellow.
Yeah.
So, I had an Every Time I Die song stuck in my head. And I couldn't remember the fucking name of it for the life of me because there's so many to keep track of, right?
Yeah, they have a bazillion songs.
Yeah, and they also do a pretty good job of like good album distribution on their set list. Anyway, I was like, dude, what is this song? So I do what a rational person does, and I type it into Google, and I type in to my bestest of friends Every Time I Die lyrics, blah blah, and I couldn't find shit. And I was like, man, what the fuck? And I eventually found the song because I knew it was off Hot Damn It's Floater, right? Mm-hmm. And I was grossly wrong because I looked up the lyrics and I was like, what the fuck? So. The real lyrics are, to my mistress, the bridge. I don't feel well. But in my head, every time I heard it, I was like, to my bestest of friends, I don't feel well. And I was like wondering, like, damn, how many other lyrics have I misheard that I just never like looked the lyrics up to? You got a funny example of that?
Oh man, hold on. I know I do.
Well, because Maddie brought this up and she said the cha-cha slide is the line is right foot let's stomp. And I'm like, no, it's right foot left stomp. And so now there's this confusion and chaos amongst us. How do you remember it? Because for
right foot let's stomp.
Let's. Like let us.
Yeah, let us.
Because I remember it being right foot left stomp.
You do realize how counterintuitive that is, right?
I know, but it's the cha-cha slide.
Oh, damn, that's funny. Oh, shit. I know I have a memory of something like this. Oh, man. Hold on. Let me think.
I mean, it's only like natural for this scene. You're going to mishear something eventually.
Fuck. Oh, fuck.
I just thought it was funny because Every Time I Die is my favorite band. And I was like, how do I not know?
And Floater's such a banger, too.
Yeah, such a good one, right? But I mean, I don't think that one's like super far off. I think it's close enough.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like, it's basically this. He's saying the same thing. I mean, you get it.
Well, I don't think it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, though.
Is your best friend a bridge?
It could be.
It could be.
It could be.
Oh man, that's the most emo shit I've heard of. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny, dude.
Couldn't think of anything offhand, but maybe watch. We're gonna cut and then be like, oh yeah, that's the one. But oh well, it is what it is.
Good stuff.
That's
so yeah,
funny,
it's
though.
my bestest of friends, The Bridge.
Sure.
Good stuff. So Emmure dropped a new single called Pig Ears. What do you think?
There's just fucking crazy sonic noises and bass and slapping and screaming.
Very cool.
That's Emmure.
That's Emmure as a whole.
Yeah.
I like how the public opinion of both Emmure and Geese was originally, I fucking hate this thing. And then one sudden month came along, and now everybody loves Geese and Emmure.
Yeah.
And for different reasons, obviously, because it's entitled Goose Game. That's not why people love Emmure, but
it could be
it's the last album.
You don't know. I mean, as far as you know,
I'm just good for them.
Yeah.
I was never the biggest Emmure fan. This single does go really fucking hard, though. You gotta admit
it goes super hard.
Good shit.
All right,
and we got an album review.
Yeah.
So Counterparts dropped their album called Nothing Left to Love. Did you listen to it?
I did.
All right. You want me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, you go first.
I'll go first. So I did give this album a spin. I am a Counterparts supporter, and I'm a fan, right? I like them quite a bit. This album has leveled them up to like S tier. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Because this vocalist Brendan Murphy. Right?
Brendan Murphy. Yeah. He's the dude that hits his jewel and then hits the inhaler.
Absolutely.
And he actually hits his inhaler between songs or between screams sometimes, which is hilarious.
Hey man. He's also in End. He's been in a lot of stuff that we've enjoyed recently.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a high quality, top end vocalist. Okay.
And writer.
Yes. I told Gabe earlier in this week. I don't know if you saw it.
I did see it, and I didn't want to argue because the old thing is if you argue with a pigeon, he's just gonna knock over the pieces and shit all over the board. It doesn't. Okay, so go ahead. Say your thing.
I said, wow, who would have thought Counterparts would have made the best 100th album? Because there's a lot of that sound.
It's sprinkled, dude. It's not 100th album. There's influences, and you could tell that they've toured. I don't think it's 100th album. It's too fast to be 100th album.
I don't know about that, dude. So I listened to this album. I listened to it once again before you came over, just because I wanted to get my opinion
taste.
Yeah, that opinion well rounded. These guys have shown and proven that we're guilty of this. That hardcore isn't just brutal, violent music, right? It can be 100%. We talked about Spite and all those other bands that we reviewed in the last couple of weeks, right? There's an elegance to this that is very hard to replicate, okay? Because yes, they do have those moments that are meant to get the crowd moving, right? But it's thought-provoking. It's not just slam your head against the wall, right? There's different levels to it, and they have, what's the word I'm looking for? Mastered that on this particular effort, all right? It's just a lot of beautiful music, all right? Hardcore can be beautiful, and they've proven that hardcore can be beautiful. Yeah, dude, it's funny because talking about nostalgia, as I was playing today and I was going through the album again, I'm like, I did this. I've done this before. I was in my mom's basement listening to 100th Weather Towns, and this is what it was giving me memories of, all right? And I know Gabe is going to probably be upset about the whole 100th comparison because if it's just due to the fact that he didn't respond, I'm like, ooh, he probably didn't like that.
There's yes and no.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave it at that.
All righty. The pigeon thing, that's funny. I'm still a little thrown off about that. So, like, they have really graduated here, man. This is a coming out party for Counterparts because before
they were good.
They're good. Can't pick them out of a crowd. I couldn't. Right? You were very hyped about this moving forward. I'm like, yeah, it should be fun. Should be good. I'm just gonna say that they have complicated my life when it comes to
top fives
album placement.
Very cool.
And again, I know it's been such a fucking roller coaster over the last couple of weeks.
You know what? You always have a roller coaster towards the end of the year, like October to December, you're like your top 5 switches every week.
Yeah, but I feel like this year in particular was just very difficult. It's very difficult to place these things. They should be proud of this. All right. I love the aesthetic of it too. It's just everything about it. It's proper. They've done a great job. I just pulled one out of the game book. I call it proper.
Yeah.
Man, they, like I said, this is an effort that they can show their girlfriend's mom and be like, look, I'm an artist. And your mom will be like, okay, maybe, sure.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And I'm going to refrain from giving my rating on this.
Really?
I'm going to refrain.
Okay. So let me go ahead and do my thing. I listened to this album, and then I listened to it again, and I don't think I've listened to much else over the weekend, if I'm being honest with you. You're right, I was super excited for this album, but I kind of got in my own head. I was like, this is going to be an album that I overhype, and I oversell myself on, and then I do...
some backpedaling.
Yeah, I do some backpedaling on, right? I didn't do any of that. In fact, I specifically wore my nice Sennheiser headphones to the gym to listen to this shit while I fucking pumped iron. Because you're absolutely right. There is this weird fucking delicate balance between being over the top heavy and doing just not enough to be hardcore, right? There's this weird balancing act, like tipping the scales. And if you get it just right, you can elicit all these emotions and fears and anger and love almost out of all the shit that you've ever experienced. And I think Counterparts, what they do is that they bring that to the forefront of their music, because Brendan Murphy is a good vocalist.
Yes, he is.
By all means, sonically, I think he's great. Is he my favorite? No. But a writer, he's definitely like top 5 favorite like lyrics writer, because the shit he writes is real, is relatable, and dude, honestly, it's artsy in like the best way, you know.
He has a vulnerability about his vocals that is not easily replicated.
And it's funny because I follow him on Twitter, and you know, sometimes he just tweets out like stuff. I'm like, oh, this guy. He's like real goofy, you know.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to writing time, and you listen to this shit pierce through the wailing guitar, that whininess of it, and man, it hits your soul on a different level. I love this album, and I mentioned that when the first single of this came out, I was kind of joking. I was like, yeah, dude, you ever feel like a song was written for you? I feel like this album was written for me. And I hate to be that guy that, I don't know, I feel like we tread on our own feet sometimes, but it's short. It's 32 minutes, but Counterparts goes to prove that you don't need a 40 to an hour long album to get your point across. Sometimes, and I think this is the best I can go, sometimes you got to just pile drive your girl for 3 minutes straight, make like a dump truck, get that shit out and go to work, dude.
Well,
and I think this is what that Counterparts album does for me. I'm sorry, I didn't bring food to the table this time, but you just got to jackhammer that thing, dude.
I actually have a metaphor for it. I was gonna compare it to like a boxer, right? This boxer is extremely capable. He has his fundamentals, and he's really silky smooth and beautiful to watch, right? However, he could also drop the fucking bomb on you if he has to and put you out. That's what Counterparts is in this particular album. Silky smooth, but they deliver the point. They get across, and they do a great job with it. And there's I don't even know what song it was, because the song's just, like, it flew by. It was like an easy listen, beautiful listen. And there's a song with like a breakdown that had like this weird octave thing that I'm just like, what? I'm like, how did I? It's simplicity, but it's like you can't do it because like your brain isn't like programmed to handle it. You know what I mean? So these guys, man, these guys.
It's really uplifting, dude, because I guess who produced this album, by the way?
I'm gonna have to guess Will Putney.
Yeah, he produced it. And I think I showed you one of the tweets where Will's like, oh, do you have the lyrics written? And he's like, oh. Yeah, dude, I think this is what music was made for. This is an album that's going to bring people together. And I've heard a lot of people complain that it's like, oh, it sounds like old Counterparts. Fuck that, dude. Yeah, it does sound like old Counterparts, but it's everything. All the stats are maxed the fuck out. It's like at the end of Tony Hawk when your ollies and your verts and your kick flip, you know, like when they still had stats in the game, everything's at max and it's full frontal force. And I had trouble comparing this to a food, which is like my shtick, right?
Yeah, it's your deal.
And I had a hard time doing that because Counterparts doesn't fucking play with their food. They demolish it.
Okay.
And then they play their set.
Okay.
Top 5 easy.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
I'm going to give this album Like a 9.25, dude. 9.25, 9.5.
You can't dedicate yourself to a 10, can you?
I think my issue with 10s is it's got to come over time. I can't give a 10 up front because a 10 album is something I'll always revisit.
That's fair.
Or I'll revisit over time, and I'll still have that same sense of amazement and joy and newness.
Actually, I have to agree with you on that because I did give an album a 10 earlier this year, and I did enjoy it, and I did like it quite a bit. However, I have not touched it since.
Alien?
Nope, that's not the one.
What was it?
We'll talk about it later. On a later date.
Yeah, that's my thing for a 10. It's got to be like my favorite movie. Like I watch it and I still love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because our tastes change over time. It's an unfortunate truth, but Counterparts goes to show that just because you're grown up doesn't mean you gotta grow up.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Thank you. Not you, Counterparts.
That's all I'm saying. Like, why are you thinking me?
Yeah, top 5 easily. We'll see as the year goes on. I gotta rearrange my top 4. And I got a pretty good idea of where everybody sits. But thank you for those 32 minutes of just, I don't know, man, like cycling through everything.
It's an experience.
Yeah, dude, you kind of, I don't want to say you look back at the things you've done, but it kind of makes you sit down and reevaluate.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Thank you.
For sure. All righty. So you got anything else to add, Gabe?
For music news and reviews, do I have anything else to add? Well, I don't think I do actually. What else do we got left for the end of the year? Big albums.
Oh, I don't know.
You know what's funny? I think because our album of the year last year was November, and I think it might be November again this year.
You have to wait and see.
Good stuff. I'm gonna have to check our album drop list, but we do already have one on the agenda for next week, and I don't want to give it away, but a band emailed us and said, "Hey, here's the album. It's not out yet. Do the review."
Actually, hold on. I actually do want to give him the right props. Okay. I want to give him his name. He actually reached out to us and asked if we would review his upcoming album. I want to give him the proper shout out so everybody can kind of get familiar and then we could all talk about it. His name he's a single man project, right? Which is
you gave it away, you piece of shit.
Oh, sorry. The Sound That Ends Creation. All right. He reached out to us. Seemed like a nice guy. We had some back and forth with him. He gave us an early preview of his album, and we're gonna go ahead and check that out.
And we're going to do a full review next week.
We give a full review next week on the Second City Kids podcast. Fit for an Autopsy came out with an album, so I'm going to have to get into that too.
Yeah, that's your lane. That's North Lane.
Yeah, North Lane. So, yeah, there's that. And other than that, I think that's it. I think me and Gabe are probably going to end up turning back my Mortal Kombat machine on, and I'm going to have to kick his ass. For the record, I don't know if... what
are we, 2-1 right now?
1-1.
1-1. We played 3 matches.
We didn't play 3. We played 1-1.
All right, so we got to break this tie.
Yeah, because I was Liu Kang once and
Sub-Zero. You were Liu Kang, Sub-Zero, and then Striker.
And then
so we did play 3.
Yeah. So for those who may not be in the know, my wife,
mom. That's when you call the teacher mom.
Yeah, my wife bought me the Mortal Kombat cabinet. I put it together last week, and it's here. And it's pretty bitchin'. But other than that, we will see you here back next week for the Second City Kids podcast. Okay, we're going to have a whole bunch of reviews for you, including the new segment, The Rise and Fall of Bless the Fall.
The Rise and Bless the Fall.
The Rise and Bless the Fall. He won't let it go. I was hoping he would, but he didn't. Alrighty. And until then, folks, signing out for Jacob and Gabe. Deuces. Thank you guys for joining us this week on the Second City Kids podcast. You can like us on iTunes, Google, anywhere else podcasts are found. Any comments, questions, or concern, you can email us at secondcitykids@gmail.com. Until next week, folks, deuces.